Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into what makes a nonprofit board actually work. We're going to break down some incredible insights from a Stanford panel that totally flips the script. Forget the old, rigid rulebooks. We are talking about the core principles that really drive success.
So let's just start with this really powerful idea from the panel moderator, Bill Meehan. Basically, what he's saying is, you could have a nonprofit that breaks every rule in the book and is fantastic, and you could have one that checks every single box and is a complete mess. That tells you right away that true effectiveness, well, it's a lot deeper than just some simple checklist.
And that, of course, raises the big question, doesn't it? If a rigid set of mechanics isn't the answer, then what is? What are the foundational principles that great nonprofit boards are actually built on? Well, we're about to find out.
Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to look at the two absolute pillars, mission and people. Then we'll explore how great boards really function day to day. We'll also tackle the tough stuff, money and change. And finally, we'll pull it all together into a new framework for thinking about governance.
So let's jump right into that foundation. Every single expert on this panel agreed on one thing. Before you talk about anything else, you have to get two things right: your purpose and your people. These are the absolute non-negotiables.
According to Bill Meehan, this is the most critical starting point. And get this, what's really shocking is that he found that a staggering 80 to 85% of nonprofit missions are, well, kind of fuzzy. They lack real clarity. And you have to ask, without a clear, ambitious mission, how on earth can a board govern effectively?
Okay, so once the mission is set, one of the first mechanical questions people ask is, how big should our board be? And Meehan says the joke answer is always 22. But of course, it's not quite that simple.
So here's the real point, and it's a big one. The actual number of people on your board, it matters way less than having a small, deeply committed core of leaders. It doesn't matter if you have 12 people or 75. It's that energized group at the center that's going to drive the whole organization forward.
And building right on that idea, panelist Bob Vischer just puts it perfectly. The right people are the essential raw material. You can have the best structures, the best bylaws in the world, but if you don't have the right individuals in the room, it's just not going to work.
So what's really cool is that Fisher gives us a framework for finding these great people. He calls it the 6 E's. A great board member has to be ethical and energetic for sure. Endowed is helpful. That means they can either contribute financially or connect the organization to money. But just as important, they need empathy for the nonprofit world, a laser focus on effectiveness, and of course, real expertise to bring to the table.
All right, so you found the right people. Now what? How do you actually harness all that collective energy? Let's shift gears from who is on the board to how they actually work together as a real engine of engagement.
Panelist Kavita Ramdas offers this brilliant framework with her 3 C's. First, communicate caring. Simple things like showing appreciation. It goes a long way. Second, and this is huge, encourage constructive criticism. Ramdas told a story where her board chair actually stopped a meeting and asked, why is there so much applause? He wanted the staff to share their real worries, not just their wins. And third, have the courage of conviction to really stand by your mission, especially when things get tough. And this just brilliantly illustrates what Bill Meehan means by keeping the board engaged with the thing itself. Look at the left side. A meeting full of dry reports that could be for literally any company. It's a total snooze fest. But then look at the right. When you bring the mission into the room, a musician, a family, a child, you instantly reconnect the board to why they're there. And that is incredibly powerful.
Okay, now let's get into the really tough stuff. Because a board's principles get seriously tested when they run up against the hard realities of budgets and a world that's always changing.
So panelist John Mordridge, who's the former chairman of Cisco, warns against exactly this kind of thing. He saw one board actually propose an 18% budget increase during a really tough economic year. He stresses that financial discipline and just plain realism, they're absolute cornerstones of good governance. Somebody on that board has to be willing to ask the hard questions.
Mordridge also points out that the best boards don't run from change, they run towards it. They have the vision to see shifts in the landscape not as threats to be scared of, but as amazing opportunities to adapt, to improve, and to push the mission forward in totally new ways.
And this is one of Mordridge's most powerful, practical pieces of advice. The nonprofit world can be really siloed, with everyone working in their own little bubble. He says, break down those walls. Invite leaders from other amazing organizations onto your board. Why try to reinvent the wheel when you can steal a good idea and tap into the genius of the entire sector?
So we've heard from all these experts, we've looked at all these different pieces. How do we tie it all together?
Let's try to distill everything down into a clear, memorable framework that really goes beyond those simple rules.
Here's really what you should take away from all this. Effectiveness isn't about how big your board is or how long your bylaws are. It's about a deep, relentless commitment to these 4 core principles. It all starts with an ambitious and crystal clear mission. It's built on a foundation of great people. It's powered by genuine, energetic engagement with the actual work. And it survives and thrives by embracing both financial discipline and constant change.
So we'll leave you with this one final thought. Just looking at this framework, what's the single biggest opportunity for your organization right now? Is it about getting more clarity on the mission, finding those great people, maybe just re-energizing your meetings? Or is it about getting real with your finances? Focusing on just one of these principles, that could be the first step to sparking some truly meaningful change.